Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Will?
We want your soul.
It really is a time when all of us have got to start talking louder than ever. The rapid speed of, if you like, globalization. The world government, world army, world central bank, world currency, world microchip population.
Don't be afraid.
No, be afraid. Be very afraid.
The important thing is to know where they want to take us.
They have to destroy the dollar, destroy the pound, destroy the old order while they've been building the new world order, this technological enslavement system.
The FBI is taking on a $1 billion project to gather fingerprints, palm patterns, even digital pictures of faces. Eventually, it could expand to include iris patterns, face shape patterns, scars, even information about how you walk and talk. It's called biometrics.
We want your soul.
You can't handle the truth.
Time to Howl at the Wolves. It's Saturday night, January 3, 2026 or 2026. What did they say at the Bilderberg Group?
As you like it.
Keith Temple
Back in studio. Glad to be here.
in studio. How are you?
Good. Great. Had a great holiday. Looking forward to the show tonight.
Co-host, you hear it, Keith? Co-host and no stranger to this show for, well, since 2009. No stranger to the show. Dr. Brooks Agnew. You can find him at brooksagnew.com. How are you, Brooks?
What? Doing really well tonight. It's a great new year.
It is, and we're going to make it a great new year. I was telling, by the way, Brooks, I cooked the crew here some of my original burritos. It's burrito night.
Oh,
The word burrito underdoes what Chad does. I mean, it's what he puts in the burrito that's just like, wow.
Keith watched me make them. Yep.
more than just ground beef and refried beans, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh, the sour cream, the chives, the onions, the cheese. I mean, the sausage. I mean, Chad's not going to do refried beans and.
Yeah, you got in that. You got red onion and cilantro, and it's a mixture, you know. So it all comes together. It all comes together when you wrap it in the tinfoil and put it in the oven and let it do its magic. And
That's what it is. Magic food.
that's right. Right. I couldn't find spinach chorizo, so I had to use andouille. But yeah, so they got the original burritos tonight. Next on burrito, the burrito series, Brooks is going to be chopped Italian salad burrito night. And holy fuck, that's producer webmaster Tony's favorite burrito. I don't know, he hasn't had this one until tonight, but that's too cool for school. Brooks, I told a longtime listener who might be listening that we have nothing to talk about tonight.
Oh yeah.
No, nothing at all. And
By the way, when it comes to cooking, there is a very common saying out there: never trust a skinny chef.
well, damn it, they're trusting me. Brooks, I'm still 6'3" and between 190 and 193. That's what I'm doing. So
I weigh 0.1 metric tons.
I have heard that before, but hey, listen.
Chad gets jazzed up about cooking. I mean, it puts a sparkle in his eye to have the opportunity to cook every week, and we love it.
It's therapy.
It's therapy.
It's been therapy since the day.
The day, I understand.
Yeah. Brooks, like I told some of the crew. By the way, listen, Adam Earth is out tonight. He drives a motorcycle. It's raining really hard here in Jacksonville, or at least earlier. Not safe conditions for him. Scotty Hare is on the mend, and here's the deal. When Scott comes back on the show, which he will very soon, he'll explain, essay, what he wants to explain and all that. So as far as on the show, what I can tell you is we have really good news about Scotty, and so he will be back on the show fairly soon. And that's good news. And when you guys, you great listeners, hear about it, some of you may have heard on Facebook, I don't know, but then you'll rejoice. But it's good that Scotty is going to be back on the show fairly soon, and all that. And we a litany of great guests that I'm working on, and all this. I did tell Keith Temple before airtime. This was funny as hell, Brooks. I texted you earlier this morning to touch base to make sure you wanted to do the show, and you were like, "Yeah, fuck yeah." Obviously, I had no idea. I had no idea at the time about the CAG operation in Venezuela. So I had no idea until Scott Hare, because he's around. He texted me and said, "Was that CAG or SEALs or DevGru or and I was like, well, let me call Bob Austin." And Bob Austin said, "No, hippie, that was a CAG." And it was A Squadron and G Squadron. But Brooks's response was, basically, I'm paraphrasing, "Fuck yeah, what are you talking about? Of course." I had no idea. Brooks obviously already knew, because you're the most interesting man in the world.
Well, we kind of knew something was going on. Many offers were made to Maduro that were very generous. They would have treated him very well and given him a decent out. Maduro kept trying to sort of rewrite the deal, and the State Department said, "No deal. These are the terms. You got to leave. You got to leave this. You got to leave this, and you got to hands off." And Maduro didn't do it. And then what happened was Maduro went about his normal day. I mean, he didn't change anything. He didn't change his routine. He didn't go into hiding. I don't know. Maybe he thought Trump was bluffing. And the team, it was actually made very easy for the team. They didn't have to shoot anybody. They didn't have to blow anything up. They just flew in, muscled a little bit, and nabbed him and his wife and out. And I'm told that later this afternoon, a 757, which belongs to the Department of Justice, landed at Stewart. And as soon as the door opened, drug enforcement and FBI went up the stairs into the plane. That's all I know, but it could be that Maduro and his wife are in custody, a la Noriega, and whatever has happened in Venezuela is now over. And I don't even think that the military generals are going to show any loyalty to him, because they know he's already gone and he's not coming back. There's nothing to be loyal to. And the people are absolutely ecstatic. It's like Independence Day in Venezuela.
I agree. I watched the press conference with 47 and Pete and Rubio and General Kane, which has the most interesting first name.
Yeah, it really did. He's the second most interesting man in the world, that general.
Yeah. I mean, if you pronounce his name incorrectly, it's Raising Cain. Um, he
Well, you remember where he got the name, right?
No, I don't. Where did he get it from?
Trump made a surprise visit to the Middle East, and he met with General Cain. And he asked General Cain straight up, because he's on the ground in theater. And he says, how long is it going to take to get rid of this ISIS thing? And he said, 2 months. And Trump looked shocked, and he said, what do you mean 2 months? I mean, Mattis is telling me 2 years minimum and $2 more billion. And General Cain said, well, you're talking to the wrong people. So Trump, while he's in the Middle East, fires Mattis and puts Cain in charge of the entire operation and gives him everything he needs. And it's done, not in 2 months, in 6 weeks. It's done.
Wow.
That's where Raising Cain got his name.
I love it. I love it. I had to do double take numerous times on the press conference. I was like, "This is Raising Cain."
That's a nickname. That's a nickname that was given to him because he was a general in theater, knew exactly what it was going to take to get rid of ISIS. He just was not being given the resources by the Secretary of Defense.
Well, I mean, no surprise there. No surprise whatsoever. Interesting. Yeah, that was. I have only I've talked to Scotty a little bit privately today, and obviously Bob Austin, who was a former CAG operator, or for people who don't know what CAG is, that's Combat Applications Group. That's your Delta Force. That's what did the Jazz. And I've talked to Keith and Tony today, and it's what was I go? Oh yeah. I can't wait because I haven't had time. I can't wait to watch the meltdown from.
It's already happened. I mean, the violation of international law, a kidnapping, all kinds of bullshit from the left. But I can tell you, Venezuela, and by the way, a lot of Venezuelans who escaped, who are here in the United States, educated people, they're now getting ready to go back to Venezuela and pick up where they left off with their lives. It's going to be great for Venezuela. Oil companies are going to invest money. As long as they don't turn around and nationalize all that money that the oil companies are going to put in, like Citgo and Mobil and Chevron, Venezuela's going to be, it's going to be the most magnificent 2026 ever for them.
It can be. And Keith, I want to get you in on this. The vice, I guess we're going to call her the vice president, but she is obviously wanting to play ball now. And I think, yeah, you're right, Brooks. It could be, Venezuela could be what it, like this country was meant to be, in the words of JFK, free and independent.
Well, let me just insert here, because I really think that our State Department has government in a box. Okay, they have dehydrated government in a box. You just set it on the ground, pour water on it, and everything comes to be. Assemblymen and congressmen and senators, a structure like that. Venezuelan elections are not going to happen overnight because there are layers and layers and layers and layers of people that need to be put in place, all the way down to what we call assemblymen. Assemblymen are the guts of where the federal government rubs against the state government. That's the assemblyman. So it's kind of a doormat to higher offices. But we don't really hear a lot about assemblymen, but they're really the ones that pull the things together, like judges and justices and magistrates and all that stuff. And Venezuela has to have that. They have to have all that in order to make government work. It's not just as easy as just opening up the treasury and dumping a bunch of money out on the street and the country turns back on. It doesn't work like that. But it's going to take some time. But the one thing that is in favor of it being a success is how willing the people of Venezuela are to make it a success.
And what I would say is if you like compare it to like Afghanistan and you look at their history with the Taliban, where the people, have not had that issue, Venezuelans know what it's like to be in a prosperous, productive Western society. And they have witnessed, through Chavez and now this regime, what it is to go down that socialist communist pathway and the results, the negative results they have. So they should be willing to take part of this issue to root out, like you're talking about, Brooks, the idea that let's get this down to the level it needs to be so that it's effective and functional.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's the difference between the Western Hemisphere and everywhere else on the planet. The Western Hemisphere, government works from the bottom up. In everywhere else in the world, it operates from the top down. It's some prince, some king, some Ayatollah. It works from the top down. And wherever you have that kind of organization where the top man is saying, this is the way it is, and you either obey or you die, those societies fail. We're watching that in Iran right now. We're watching Persia. Actually, let me be more clear about that. The women of Persia have been in a state of uprise, of revolution for 3 years. For 3 years, there have been constant demonstrations in Iran. Now, you can't see them because they can't get the demonstrations onto the internet. But Starlink has changed that. Starlink has given access for the revolutionaries to the web, and that's what's given the momentum for Iran. But I don't want to change subjects. I'm just trying to draw the dichotomy between the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere. And what Trump is saying, and Rubio's a perfect historian about this, is the Monroe Doctrine. This is our hemisphere. Stay the fuck out.
And we talked about that about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and Keith was bringing it up while I was making the burritos.
There you go. There you go. Brooks,
But I like the way Trump has done it. That Trump did it the right way. He just cut the head off the snake and is going to he's going to move a shadow government, a military government in place, which will move out of the way as soon as the elections begin happening.
Brooks, what I want to do is fought pigtail on that issue about Trump and Rubio and such. And I want to lay out some dots, and then, you can comment or, just kind of look at it. So
connect the dots.
Connect the dots there.
Be happy to.
Right. So obviously we have what's occurred in the last 24, 36 hours or so. But what happened before that? Were the sinking of the drug boats 6 weeks ago? It's been going on, but it's. But we had that. And then before that, what did we have? Well, we had the Trump administration beefing up, no pun intended, right? The Argentina beef issue, another country in that region, right, of that. And then what did we have before that? Trump putting his foot down in Panama, right? That, hey, listen, if you, Panama, are not going to, do what we did to put the canal there, and you're going to let the Chinese influence that, we're going to take it back. Well, it goes back further than that. What did Trump do before that? Well, he renamed, right, the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, and it seems like kind of weird, but we're laying out these dots. And then to your point there, what did Trump do before he renamed the Gulf of America. He put Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. Why is that significant? Well, that was a shift from a European-dominated State Department foreign policy to someone with expertise, right, in Latin America and South America. Going back to this issue of what we talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that Trump had made a statement that we're going to start to go back to the Monroe document or doctrine that, that this is our hemisphere and Russia, you and China are getting out of here. We're not going to let you set up camp in South America. So, I mean, it goes back to way back the first week or so of his presidency. Rubio in place, changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico, right, to the Panama Canal, to supporting Argentina beef, right, to sinking the drug boats, and now for this regime change in Venezuela. And I don't think those 6 dots, are just arbitrary by random. It seems to me that the plan has been in place for a while.
And there's one dot we didn't talk about, you didn't mention, and that is Greenland.
Oh, yes.
Okay, Greenland is obviously in the Western Hemisphere. It's been largely ignored by every administration we've had since Eisenhower. I mean, Thule, Greenland's still there, but as far as American support for the provinces in Greenland, no. That country is controlled by
Denmark.
Denmark, right. And Denmark does nothing for Greenland except extract money.
Right.
And Greenland doesn't like that. And Trump doesn't like that. Trump is basically saying, I'm sorry, but Denmark is a European country. This is the Western Hemisphere. Get the hell out. So Greenland is all in support of this. They want this to happen. But this has huge ramifications because between Greenland and Canada is the Northwest Passage, which is a tremendous alternative to the Panama Canal. There are no locks. You could just sail right through it most of the year. We don't guard it. We don't man it. We don't send our naval vessels very much up there. But who does? Russia and China. So we're going to start spending money in Greenland. Greenland is going to love it. And Greenland doesn't have many roads. I mean, the only way to get around to Greenland is by boat or air. So there's a lot of minerals in Greenland too. So there's a big trade-off that's about to occur. I don't think any of this can happen. I don't think all of this can happen within Trump's 4 years as president. But you put a bunch of dots in a row that would have probably taken 5 presidents to do. Yeah. We've done it with one.
In 1 year.
Planning. Well, he was planning for 4 years because he was in exile and he had nothing to do but plan this stuff. So as soon as he got his hands back on the levers of power, he immediately started filling in the blanks to make these things happen. And of course, once everything starts moving, it's going to be very hard to stop. But there's something key about Venezuela that a lot of people are missing right now. Trump has been cutting off the money supply to the left, to the Democrats, for a long time. He's investigating Act Blue. He cut off Planned Parenthood. He cut off Doge. And now he's cut off Venezuela. And Venezuela was a huge support apparatus for the Democrats because Venezuela fixes elections. That's how Maduro got it in the first place.
Really?
Well, yes. So now that all that power in Venezuela and all that technology that the Chinese put in place in Venezuela has been disrupted, we might see a red wave in 2026.
Damn straight.
And that needs to happen. When you had mentioned that Trump may not be able to facilitate all of this, in the next 3 years or so, we need those fair elections in the American electric to wake up and to do this so that we can put J.D. Vance in and continue the policies that are going through. And
Well,
not-
look at the fraud that has been barely uncovered in Ohio, in Maine, in Minnesota,
Georgia.
in Washington State.
Georgia.
Yeah, in Georgia. We're just scratching the surface here.
Yes.
This is how the Democrats have funded their down ballot operations for a decade.
Or more.
Are these illegal daycare centers? That's how they funded it. Trump is shutting it off. The USDA is cutting off all the money, and HHS is going to be right on top of it. Even Ben Carson said, this is something that's almost uncontrollable. There's so much fraud. And I think Trump's getting very close to doing what I've been talking about for a couple of years. We should say, you know what? 70% of that $37 trillion that you call debt is fraud, and we're not paying it back. We're not paying back the fraud. We're going to write it off and start over.
Oh, my kind of thought on the issue here is the federal government, the only way you're going to stop that corruption is to dismantle the program. And the issue, right? And because you can't steal from something that's not in existence. And the idea is if you put it down on the state level, well, what California, Illinois, New York, I mean, they're not going to internally steal from themselves. The issue is that that would become too terribly obvious. So the idea is that, hey, there has to be a change in the mindset of the American electric and say, you know what, this mindset of 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 years that the federal government is better, the federal government provides a national unity and safety net, that is proven out to be completely false. And
you're absolutely correct.
Right? The idea is that the closer it is in the states, and let the states and the state's electric be accountable and responsible for that, is going to make it more effective. And so all of these federal entitlements and programs and safety nets, we as the American electric have to recognize that, you know what, we've kind of been hoodwinked for the last several decades.
It isn't so much the entitlements like Social Security.
Right, I didn't mean that. I meant
but
these, yes.
It's the fraud. This is how it kind of works. So you get two Somali sisters. They live next door to each other. One has 3 kids, one has 2 kids. What they do is they apply to the state for a license as an in-home daycare center. And then they swap kids during the day. So one sister watches the other kids, this sister watches that kids. Now they're employed, but they can't make their bills. So they ask for federal assistance, and they get about $33 an hour every hour for each kid, by the way, that they're watching. So they're underemployed as daycare operators, but they're just watching each other's kids. And my guess is they don't even swap kids in the first place. But they're taking in about $7,000 a month. That's how it works. That's how they beat the system. And the issue is that this level of fraud feeds money to the Democrat Party. The UN ambassador from Somalia owns daycares in Ohio. That's how he funds his lifestyle.
So let's repeat that, because I read that today as well. The UN ambassador of Somalia is the head of a daycare center in Ohio.
More than one.
Right.
Yeah, he is an administrator of daycares in Ohio.
Your job, sir, should be being the ambassador.
And you should be paid by Somalia, not by commercial operations in the U.S. This is going on in virtually every single blue state in this country. 21 states that are ruled by blue cities. There's no such thing as a blue state, but these blue cities are running operations like that. And we're talking in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 billion dollars a year.
At least.
Believe me, that's enough money to run the entire Democrat Party.
Well, unless you're Kamala. Anyway,
Well, you bring up an interesting point. Why the hell did Kamala Harris pick Tim Walz to be her running mate?
Of all the Democrats,
yeah.
of all the people she could have picked, she's going to pick Tim Walz?
Because he is the Joe Biden. Joe Biden had access to the dark money out of Ukraine because he's been running money laundering operations for 20 years out of Ukraine. Tim Walz was running money laundering operations from the daycare centers in Minnesota. He had it down. He had hundreds of millions of dollars that he could bring to a Harris-Walz presidency. That's why he was picked.
See?
And again, to reemphasize, to double down, the only way that, in my opinion, my personal opinion is to effectively root out that corruption is to dismantle the program. Dismantle the federal program and let each state, and then like you say, there are no blue states or blue cities, and then let internally each of those states resolve their issue.
Yeah, I mean, what you don't want to have happen is real people who are in need to be thrown out with the bathwater. You want the people in need helped, but you don't want to see a dilapidated old factory with 90 daycares in it that hasn't seen a kid since it was licensed. That's what you don't want to see.
Yeah, that would be odd, wouldn't it? In reality.
Yeah, but it is reality, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Well, original reality, real reality. Yeah, it's odd. Where are the kids?
Well, one of the guys that they were going to arrest, right as he was being investigated, he had a burglary. And somebody broke in, and what did they steal? All of his records. They stole all his records.
Oh, son of a bitch.
And while he was doing the interview, he's looking in the camera through a pair of $2,000 glasses.
My glasses are only $400, asshole. $2,000.
These are $2,000 designer glasses.
That's crazy. Wow. Yeah. See, we're getting somewhere here. We are.
I think America's getting somewhere. And I think I said 6 weeks ago or so, when this whole thing maybe 2 months ago started up, I said, there's always been a huge cover-up. When Hillary and the Clinton Foundation were there, and we just go on and on.
And it
the
continues.
Burisma issue with the Ukraine and the Bidens, like you're saying. But I said, I don't think, Omar,
illegal Omar.
Illegal
Omar. I don't think they're either going to be able to or have the willingness to try to cover for her. And it'll play out. We'll see. I think Trump in his interview had indicated that, or maybe it was Pam Bondi, or no, it was his press secretary this week. It said, arrests are coming, because you can hear the groundswell that we're tired of hearing this person is indicted or this person's under investigation or whatever. I think the MAGNA movement is at the point of, okay, now let's be real. There needs to be accountability. There needs to be some incarcerations. Otherwise, we're just kind of fooling ourselves.
Well, how many times have we heard that Congress is getting very close to having a vote on the floor to expel illegal Omar from Congress?
Needs to happen.
It hasn't happened. It should have happened a year ago.
Right.
Yeah. At least there's more talk of getting rid of illegal Omar. There's talk going on there, at least.
Well, you know what she bragged about? They're not going to
She
get rid of
brags
me.
about a lot.
Look at all the federal money that I have brought into Minnesota. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to run your Congress seat from jail. You know,
Well, yeah.
what did Trump say in his infamous debate with Hillary? She goes, "It'd be terrible to have someone like you in charge of our legal system." And he turned right around and said, "Yeah, because you'd be in jail." The issue is that they need to charge her, arrest her, put her in jail, and when she's done with her prison sentence, deport her back to Somalia. That's my opinion.
Yep.
That's my
Yep.
opinion.
There's a lot of stuff coming down the pike, as I've said before, and I'll allude once again to a friend of the show, Roger Stone, who has been on many times, hasn't been on in a little while, but been on many times, and I have the privilege of being able to talk to and all this jazz. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pike that he's aware of and has made me aware of. So the country gets rewarded for putting 47 back into office for the third time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is the third time. And they get rewarded for coming out in droves to overtake, because they were trying to steal it in 2024 again. It's just a fact. You know, Brooks, remember when we were, and Keith, you know, when we were doing we did this live show, folks, if you haven't heard the show before or whatever, we covered election night 2024. We had Brooks Agnew,
Yep.
Keith Temple, Holland Vanner Neuenhoff, Adam Earth, myself, my
Scotty
girlfriend
Hare.
Kayla, and obviously Scotty Hare. I wasn't going to forget Scotty. And, you know, we covered that election. Started at 7-something at night and covered the election and all this. That was absolutely incredible to be able to cover it, right? But what was happening the entire time? Well, Keith's sitting where I was sitting, actually. Adam Earth was sitting where Keith's sitting. Kayla and I were over there in the dining room, and Brooks was in North Carolina, and Scotty was in Connecticut, okay? And Holland was in Oklahoma. It was a cool show, all of us doing this. But what was going on the entire night? The entire night.
We were making predictions state by state, and we were nailing it.
Yes.
We were, but what I'm getting at is, what was the MSM doing the entire night? This is going to be
Stonewalling.
This is too close to call. It's going to be too close to call. This will not be over. This started at 7. You know, this will not.
This is going to go on for a
Probably
long
won't.
time.
It probably won't be called until next month. You know, they're just.
Well, at least they didn't do a Brett Baer where he called Arizona before, you know, like 9% of the vote was in.
Yeah, Brooks, but exactly right. But what I'm getting at is the MSM in unison, lockstep, whether it was CBS, ABC, they were in unison, PBS, MSNBC. I'm saying all of them were, it's going to be too close to call. We're going to be in for a long night. Probably won't be called until probably tomorrow morning, actually, possibly sometime next week. They were all saying the same thing. Why? Because the fix was in. And they knew the fix was in. They were trying to steal 2024 like they stole 2020. And the difference is so many people came out this time.
It's too big to rig.
Exactly.
Well, and there are a few other things, if you remember. Brooks, you and I, and Scotty particularly, were looking at Pennsylvania. We knew that the knockout punch was Pennsylvania. and we were looking at counties and those issues, and we determined, by just looking off the AP, that Pennsylvania was going to go for Trump, and it just drew out and drew out and drew out. And if you remember, very late, we got that very ill feeling that all of a sudden we started seeing white van trucks pulling up to precincts, right, in Philadelphia. And we all said, gasp, and we said, oh no, here it comes again, that they're going to do that. But there were a lot of people that got on their phones, and there was a lot of stuff that came on, and then it appears that obviously that was diverted or prevented, or whatever term you want to use for that. And then we kind of called the show and we said, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and literally I live 30 minutes down the road from here. And on the way there, boom, as soon as that was diverted, boom, they called Pennsylvania for Trump, and it was over.
I kid about this, but it's not really kidding. Literally, fucking the moment we decided to call it, Holland was like, all right, guys, blah, blah, blah. And Scott Hare calls me 10 minutes later and says, we got off air too damn early.
Right.
We were 10 minutes behind, but we covered everything else. Damn it.
Yeah.
But we did get off the air like 10 minutes before it was called. You know why? Because I think honestly we were thinking they're gonna run this into the ground. They're gonna run into the ground. I'm pinning you right now on camera,
Right.
and I'm sorry, and I got to stop doing that. But yeah. Either way, though, the bottom line, I don't mean to bring up old hat or anything. It's just they tried to steal 2024 like they tried 2020, and it was just it was just too big. It was too big, and we always knew it was going to be too big because they fucked up by doing they did a lot of fuck ups. Butler, you really fucked up. You really woke a lot of people up when you tried to do Butler, you dumbass globalist.
Yeah, that more than anything helped to get Trump elected.
Big time. And then they fucked up again by killing Charlie. So, fuck you, global syndicate. Fuck off.
Yeah.
No, and I go back to the beginning of this show, is that, like we say, Trump had a 4-year term in exile. And like you say, I don't think there's a coincidence that he put in place this issue of like Rubio, shifting foreign policy from its dominance in Europe to Central and South America, and then all of these other steps that we've put in place that we're talking about. And so, we just need more time. I mean, the idea is we don't need to...
I've never been a Marco Rubio fan. I didn't like him, when he was in the mix in 2016. I went to a couple of rallies, a couple of events, and Rubio was supposed to show up. Ted Cruz showed up instead. I liked Ted Cruz for a long time. I thought he was a great statesman and a great speaker. And then I met him face to face, and he was just spiraling to me. I asked him a couple of questions, and he just twisted and turned and never gave me a straight answer. And I thought, well, as far as I'm concerned, that's it for Ted Cruz. And about 2 weeks later, on May 26th, 2016, Trump became the nominee. And that's when I shifted everything to Trump. I liked Trump. I mean, you couldn't help but like him during the debates, but I still thought Ted Cruz had a path to 270 until those last 3 weeks. And then that's what pulled away. But I never liked Rubio. And I actually thought when Trump made Rubio Secretary of State, I thought he was just going to be a yes man and not be effective. He was just going to fall back on that ability to argue that you pick up in the Senate. But Rubio has really found his calling. He is really doing well as Secretary of State.
I tell you what, Brooks, I'm glad you bring that up because Keith and I'm going to pin you again real quick, just one time.
That's fine.
There's a pin.
Oh,
But while I was cooking before the show, we were talking. Keith and I were talking, and we were talking about Rubio, and he agreed. Well, we basically we both agreed with one another, but. And I'm with you, Brooks. I was never a Rubio fan until he came into this administration, and I said something to Keith like that. It's his wheelhouse. And Keith had mentioned to me he was just not operating basically in the Senate. That wasn't his deal. And once I'm not going to put words in your mouth, Keith, but what I'm saying is. He seems to have realized, with the State Department situation, he's a completely, and I agree with you, Bruce, he's a completely different dude. Because I didn't trust that dude for a long time. He seems as if he has absolutely come into his own. I think he's on board. With
He's
47.
had opportunities. He's had opportunities before. He was a member of the Gang of Eight. He was on the Senate Armed Services Committee, senior member of it. He's had opportunities to shine before, and he didn't do it.
He's
This
a
time,
different,
in
he's
the
a
State
different cat
Department,
right now. I'm telling you.
he's kicking ass. He's doing a really good job.
and the conversation that I think Chad and I had before the show is that the issue is why? Why is there this change? And what I said is, I think Rubio has really had a change of heart, and Rubio has said, you know what? I trust Trump. I support Trump. I'm in line with Trump. And I think Trump has recognized that Rubio was the right man for the position of Secretary of State if they were going to change the focus to this Monroe Doctrine of, the Western Hemisphere, as opposed to focusing on NATO and Europe. And then I said to Chad was, you got to respect the servant aspect of Trump and Rubio, because it's a two-way team. In other words, Trump supports Rubio and Rubio trusts Trump in this issue, and that's tremendous.
That's a good point.
And it's tremendous to recognize, that Rubio, feels this support from Trump, and that and he can move forward there. And they've put beside, they really weren't the best of friends 5-6 years ago.
No, they weren't, but that's because they were campaigning for the same office. But I think what happened when Trump gave Rubio the reins, he actually gave him the reins and said, make this your State Department. This is your opportunity to correct all that is wrong with the world. And Rubio took the opportunity. He took it by the horns. He didn't do what Kamala Harris did when she was made border czar and never show up. Rubio went to the State Department and kicked ass.
Right. And I think that's what Trump's biggest support is that he has assembled a great team, whether or not it's, Bondi or Patel or Secretary of War Pete. All of these individuals that they've put in, the Homeland Security lady, Nomi, they all seem to be on board working together, and they are pro-Trump, and that's what he did in those 4 years of exile.
They're excited as fuck.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I mean, Kristi Noem, you don't mess around with her.
Yeah.
The head of the Department of Education, you don't mess around with her. Head of the USDA, you don't mess around with her. I mean, they're really, really doing a good job. The only one that's been a failure to me, as far as I'm concerned, has not done what I think Trump assigned her to do is Pam Bondi. She just has not done it.
And here's the thing, Brooks, and I'll shut up for just a moment, and then I promise not to for just a little bit. But no, I got your back. I got your back, totally. You have been on this since the beginning. You have not liked her. You have not liked her performance. I'm not banging on you. I'm agreeing with you. You have not liked her performance, and I'm with you. Something's got to change with that.
Well, and I think the ground swelling in the Magna, support issue is at that point. That's what I think I said earlier in the show tonight, is that the idea is that there needs to be some accountability, right?
Well, she's got a big job, a huge job, that a lot of other people don't have. But she needs to perform. And what Brooks is saying is, and I'll just continue putting words in your mouth, Brooks, for the fuck of it. But but she has to perform, and unless she's like, there's this big reveal that's going to be happening, she needs to fucking perform. And there's certain things that she's fallen short on, and I'm not happy about that, because fucking duck, she's from Florida.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to perform.
Pam Bondi can sass back. Okay, she's a Fox News contributor, and when other lawyers or judges or other people in the press go after her, she can sass right back.
Yeah.
But so the fuck what? I mean, what we really want to see is the authority. We don't want to see another Jeff Sessions. What we want to see is Elliot Ness. Yeah. We want to see somebody that goes after bad guys and puts them away.
That's where we are. And she has a 60, 90, maybe 120-day issue before I think some people are going to, be very vocal.
I don't think she'll make it to the end of January. That's my prediction right here on this program. Pam Bondi will not be the Attorney General on February 1st.
Wow. We'll see. We'll see. How about Tulsi Gabbard? She was really in the Intel division. She was really.
Tulsi's been kicking ass.
Just
done a really fine job. Really fine job. She has not pulled any punches. She's gone after the Obamas. She's gone after the Clintons. And she's not pulled any punches. But without a Department of Justice to back her up, she's almost powerless.
That's true, for sure.
Listen, you guys, bottom line, Tulsi's kicking ass. Pam, she doesn't know it, but she looks strikingly similar to a younger chick that I know.
You're right. She
doesn't know that.
She does not know that.
She doesn't know that, but
she's.
But
I hate to say it.
The thing is,
isn't she 60? Isn't Pam Bondi 60 years old?
I have no idea, but
she doesn't look 60.
She's definitely way. I mean, she's definitely older than the chick that I'm talking about. But the point is, I know a certain chick who looks fucking like her, just like a number of decades younger, and she might be governor of the state of Florida sometime.
I was going to say, do you think she'd make a good attorney general? I mean, I just don't think we wanted a Fox News contributor as attorney general. We wanted somebody who would put bad guys in jail.
Yeah, but Pete's kicking ass, and he used to be that, so.
Well, and Pam Bondi was the Attorney General of Florida too, wasn't she?
That's what I'm saying. She's from Florida. She was kicking ass.
Yeah. So
she needs to continue kicking ass. I'm giving Brooks total props on calling it in the first place. She needs to do shit.
She does, no doubt. The accountability and responsibility.
Too late.
Is here. Too late, maybe.
I managed a lot of plants, and I would tell my managers, I would say, I'm going to ask you to do this, and I'm going to tell you to do it. If I have to do it, if I have to go do it, don't come back to work.
Well, Brooks, I'll double down and I'll ask you to go out there. Do you have a replacement for her?
Yeah, sure.
Who would that-
There's several.
Brooks
Sidney
Agnew.
Powell would
I'm
be a
just-
great choice. Sidney Powell would make a great choice.
Sidney Powell?
Sidney
Um,
Powell, wow.
I think even Tom Whitaker would make a good choice.
Okay.
I think that
You don't think Rudy Giuliani?
no, past
Okay.
his prime. But somebody like Rudy, somebody that's got prosecutorial experience, and somebody who's willing to go into a crime shop and clean house.
How about Trey Gowdy?
No, hell no. That barking poodle, forget that.
Okay, I'm just asking.
No. But no, not even considered, not even on the list.
Okay.
All the yap. He had Hillary Clinton in the palm of his hands when he was cross-examining her, when he was on that committee, and he didn't close the deal. He's not a closer. He's just a talker,
Okay.
a toothless poodle.
I'm on Kalshi right now, and Brooks. I'm betting that I'm buying stock that he does not like Trey Gowdy.
Okay. I bet.
I
just
think
made
Sidney Powell would be a good
$5,000.
choice. She only needs a year. Sidney Powell only needs a year to do what needs to be done. I've met her. We had long conversations together. She's as tall as me, by the way. She's 6 feet tall. She's funny. She's smart. She knows the law, and she's fearless. Absolutely fearless.
How about the Arizona lady, Lake?
Carrie Lake.
No,
Lake?
not the kind of experience that we're looking for. I mean, and she's a newscaster. She's great with words, and she's got a great moral compass. But I need somebody that knows the law, knows how to manage a courtroom, because that's where Pam Bondi is screwed up already. She had James Comey the chameleon, and she had Big Tish indicted. They were indicted, ready to go to trial. And some judge said, oops, Pam, you didn't assign the prosecutor correctly. Case is thrown out.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
That was a freshman mistake.
Yes. Yes, and there have been a couple
That's-
others. There have been a couple other mistakes.
Well, that's when you're more concerned about what your hair looks like on camera than you are about getting the job done.
There you go. So repeat.
She should have thrown her makeup away, given herself a flat top, and come to work ready to do business.
And so repeat for me the top 2 or 3 that you would say would be great replacements.
I would say Sidney Powell is
Yeah.
a great replacement. Maybe Tom Whitaker. I know the guy. He's a straight shooter. He's never been given the authority to do something, but he's really good in front of the Senate, really good in front of Congress. Another one that I would mention is Matt Gaetz. Now, he's a little bit of a firebrand. Okay, he's a
He
lot of a
is.
fire,
Yeah.
but I think he would scare the holy hell out of the people that are in hell living on this planet right now.
I
Matt
have no
Gaetz
doubt with what you're
would-
saying with that, but he has a huge burden to get over with some of the personal stuff, and true or false or whatever. But I agree with you that he surely has the experience and the temperament to be right. He just carries some baggage. How about someone like Sarah Huckabee?
No. I thought about that for a while, but what happened when they went and assassinated her airport manager, who was the highest paid government employee in the state of Arkansas, they just shot him in the head and basically said, don't try running. And she didn't. She is a glad hander.
Okay.
Everybody that I know in Arkansas who knows her says the same thing. She does whatever she can do to not make waves. Not the right person.
You had mentioned Ted Cruz earlier in the show tonight.
Ted Cruz would be awesome. I just don't think he has the resolve anymore.
Okay.
The only reason he's actually in his position in Texas is because there's nobody of that stature to replace him.
Because he's a
He would
Texas
like to retire.
Yeah. There should be. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I'm sorry.
10 years ago? Yeah, 10 years ago, Ted Cruz would have made a great attorney general. Not now. He's ready to retire. He feels the weight of 32 years in the Senate.
Right.
Yeah, that's another thing that we don't need to go down that place, I guess. But because every time I bring it up, I get opposition sometimes and other times not. But
Senators don't make very good anything. Senators don't make good presidents. Senators don't make good leaders at all. They're not leaders.
there are exceptions.
They're just lawmakers.
There are exceptions, though. There's a guy who was murdered in Davie Plaza.
Right.
There are exceptions.
Well,
Yeah,
and
Kennedy had a good moral compass
And
when
we
it comes to
said-
government, but a bad moral compass when it came to personal honor.
yeah,
He was a Kennedy. He was corrupt.
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. That sure is with Marilyn Monroe and all that stuff.
Oh, he was banging every intern he had.
Right.
There were interns that had his kids.
Well, and but we just gave kudos to Rubio, who came out of that lot too, in his particular situation. So,
Well, I will, Brooks. Just on the record, as I will always say that we had a real president of the United States, and then it was vapid of real presidents of the United States until 2016. So 1963,
Well,
they killed him for a reason. He was the real
Look
deal.
what we did, though. Look what we did for presidents. It's your turn. It's your turn. You ran, you lost, and now it's your turn to run. It's your turn to run. John McCain's turn to run.
Oh.
What the fuck happened there? You run John McCain against somebody like Barack Obama, and he loses because McCain was a lousy presidential
he was.
candidate.
He was horrible. I didn't vote for him. I'm going to get kicked by Chad here. I'm sure I am. But I will like to express my.
I think it's going to be a punch.
It might be. Be careful. I got a birthday in a week or two. It's that I didn't vote for Romney and I didn't vote for
neither
for
did I.
McCain.
Neither did I.
And
John McCain was so bad that Sarah Palin looked good.
right.
Yeah, she kind of actually did look good. Why was I going to kick you? Because you didn't
I was
vote?
going to say, well, what I was going to say is that I voted third party one of those elections,
Yeah.
and I abstained one of those elections.
Well, so what?
And so the idea is that, and if I haven't gotten kicked yet, I will tell you that didn't one of them, Bill Clinton run against one of them? I think in there.
Well, he did. He ran against Ross Perot.
To start with, but the second time, I actually voted for Bill Clinton his second term. I'll say that because of his budget issues.
But they weren't his budget issues. They were Newt Gingrich's.
Well, they were.
Newt Gingrich and the contract.
Say that again, Brooks. You broke up.
Newt Gingrich and his contract with America is what saved the Clinton presidency.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, I will agree with that. But Clinton
day.
also shut down the government for a pretty long period of time until he got a better budget, I thought. I was pretty naive back then too. I mean, that's 30 years ago. So I was a young dumb man.
Well, dude, I mean, why am I going to kick you?
So,
I still don't
hey,
understand.
I got you. Okay, so
It's not like a,
so I voted for Bill Clinton's
like,
second term.
holy shit, fuck you, Keith. You voted.
I voted third party and I abstained. And I've gone down the road of what do you do when you don't like candidates like Perot, and I'm sorry, I didn't like Perot anyway, but he was a Naval Academy guy like me, and I heard him at the Naval Academy speaking. He was a little wormy guy, but in my opinion, but hey, but the idea is that I have made the decision that it's better, so listen, viewers, in my opinion, that's not worth much. It's better to vote third party for a candidate that you don't even like or agree with their policy to show your disdain than to be apathetic and not vote, because the major parties.
I agree. Yeah.
Is the major parties look at you not voting as you don't care, you're not engaged, and that would not have been the truth for me. And so I voted for a candidate that I didn't support their party, I didn't support their views, but I wanted my vote to register that I went out to do that. So.
Well, you want a confession from me? Maybe you'll kick me.
Okay.
All right. All right, man. And Brooks will probably, because he's the most interesting man in the world, he'll probably find a way to get Bob Austin to fucking do a halo jump on me tonight and have someone kick me or something. But no, dude, like, for example, before when was when was it? it was prior to 9/11, right? So it was 2000.
Bush?
Yeah. Bush and Gore, right?
Bush and Gore.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
I know that one really well.
Well, so you got to remember, I've already confessed on this show that back in 2000, listen, all I knew was pro beach volleyball, right? And my fiance, and that it was a different life, a different world. I was not awake, but the precursor to Chad becoming awake or having the ability to wake up, because people are wired differently. I stick by that. That's why some people cannot wake up.
I agree.
Plain and simple. I knew there was something fucking wrong with me choosing Bush or Gore. I didn't like either of them.
Yeah.
I didn't like either of them. I'm totally asleep. I don't know what the New World Order is. The global syndicate. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know anything about the fucking Federal Reserve. I have no idea about anything.
You just don't like either of those candidates.
It was just innate. I don't like those guys. It's like the first time I'm an adult that I could actually make a decent decision. I didn't like them. And so when that drug on forever, I was just like, just pick one of them with all the lawsuits, But it ended up being that I was right, that both those motherfuckers were bullshit, because it turns out they're both globalists. They both work for the global syndicate.
Yep.
And once again, then 9/11 happens, and then I fucking start researching 9/11 and wake up and get awakened by people like Brooks Agnew and Gio
and the
Griffin.
main thing is,
and on.
The nation really didn't know. Well, they weren't convinced who was president until September of 2001.
And then we
didn't
all
know.
rallied around Bush after 9/11.
I mean, yeah, the Supreme Court chose Bush, but what was Bush doing? He was doing dick. He was doing nothing.
And we would have had, just to interrupt real quick, Brooks, I just wanted to finish this point. We would have had 9/11 if Al Gore was in also. It was pre-planned.
Precisely right.
I agree
Precisely correct, because
and we would have went to war.
2001, 9/11 was not about knocking those towers down. 9/11 was about putting the Patriot Act in place.
Yeah.
That's all they wanted to do. They
And-
wanted to take away our freedoms. In fact, the whole world's freedoms. I mean, there's not an airport on this damn planet that you can get on a plane without being strip searched and having your baggage illegally searched. That would have been impossible, absolutely impossible on the 10th of September, 2001.
Oh yeah, they already had the Patriot Act drafted, just like we talk about Trump being in an exile.
12 years in a drawer.
Yeah, it had already been gone through multiple times there to do that.
Tom Daschle said straight the fuck up. If
Right.
you remember Tom Daschle,
Yeah.
the Patriot Act was written 12 years prior. It was just sitting there waiting.
Waiting for the opportunity to do that. And but not only would 9/11 would have happened, but the toppling of Saddam Hussein. I mean, that would, here you got 21 Saudi, nationalists working out of Pakistan, Afghanistan, areas there, are the people that do that. And who do we declare war against is Iraq, right? I mean, come on.
We're talking about making sense here, Keith. Yes.
Yeah, right. Brooke, I don't know if you know this, and this is not the show because it might take a little bit of time. And Chad, when he makes kind of fun of the idea that, all the Supreme Court issue and the court issue, I'm kind of guilty of that. I was the only individual voter.
It's a fact.
And I've shown Chad the paperwork, and you can look it up, and viewers can look it up if you want, and I can provide it. I'm the only individual voter during the Bush-Gore election cycle. I was here in Florida. I retained an attorney, and I went to the U.S. Supreme Court. And it was my equal protection argument that I presented to the U.S. Supreme Court that obtained the 7-2 verdict that basically put Bush in office.
Wow.
The Republican Party's argument was one that it was a statute issue that the Secretary of State of Florida had certified the election and it had been past the time periods allotted for any more recounts or any more issues to do that. And Anthony Kennedy was a swing vote at that time in the U.S. Supreme Court. And he had an interview after that, and he said, I probably would have gone with the Democrats on the issue of about the recounting issue, except there was the follow-up argument of equal protection that we couldn't get around that was 7-2, and therefore whatever recount had to go on in Florida, it had to be universal in all of the counties under the same standards, because that was an equal protection issue.
Right.
To do that.
Because Broward County was
Right. They handpicked 4 or 5 counties that they thought were heavily Democratic, and they wanted to recount in those to harvest enough votes to do that. And being a systems engineer, I wrote a computer program, and it's an interesting story. I emailed every nonprofit that I knew of, and finally through Focus on the Family, Dobson.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I got in touch with an attorney. I paid about 10 or 12 grand out of my own pocket. I mean, I physically got on a plane to Washington, D.C. with my attorney. We physically went to the U.S. Supreme Court, went to the clerk, had our legal brief. I mean, I testified in front of Sandra Sauls. I was cross-examined by David Boies, the Gore attorney issue. I went to the Florida Supreme Court, sat at the table with them, and it was really interesting. After the Florida Supreme Court, it was the Republicans who came to me and said, "You've done a wonderful job. We just don't need you to go to the U.S. Supreme Court. We got it. We don't want you to introduce some argument that's going to mess this up." And I was a very arrogant 30-year-old. And I basically said, fuck you. You guys don't know. And I'll be real honest with you. I think I said that to Brett Kavanaugh. I think I said that to Brett Kavanaugh sitting across, I mean, as far as Chad and I are, after the U.S. Supreme Court, because they took us out for lunch after that. And I said, I basically said, I said, fuck you at 30 years old. I said, you don't know. I said, I am an individual voter. I have different rights. I have different, positions than you as the candidate. And I'm not advocating my position for you. You argue your issue, I'm going to argue my issue. But anyway, that was kind of an interesting time. And I'm going to follow this up with this election fraud 2020 issue that we had, all of us together with Pennsylvania and stealing the election and all that. If you remember, Florida was called early for Gore. And
it was.
And
before the Panhandle had even voted.
Right. Before it was called for Gore. And then as the night went on, the numbers didn't produce that. And we can get into the specifics of why that is. There was a weird issue in Palm Beach about a butterfly ballot that didn't line up exactly right. The Libertarian Party's last name that year was Brown.
You mentioned hanging chads. I'm gonna fucking kick you.
I'm not gonna mention that. I don't want to get kicked. But Corrine Brown was the long-term congressman out of Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And Brown was the last name was presidential on the Libertarian Party. So there was an awful lot of votes in Duval County that double voted.
Right.
And so it messed up all of their predictions and their models with these irregularities. And I won't mention Chad's, but what I will mention is optical scan. There were about 5 or 6 optical scan counties, not punch card counties, and I'm not going to say that word that's going to get me kicked. And it was found that although those optical scan counties were much more accurate with not having the problems that the punch card ones had.
All right.
But it was more Democratic voters that circled the circles or put a check mark in them or put an X in them that didn't register. And so the recounts of where to harvest additional Democratic votes was not in the heavily punch carded, because that was a random issue. That was a mechanical issue of them not tabulating correctly. But there were human behavior issues in these other places. I mean, it's a fascinating story, and I ought to write it down sometime. But anyway, I agree. 9/11 would have happened. We would have toppled Saddam Hussein either way. I do think.
Well, they had to have some way to get the Patriot Act enacted.
Yes.
That's what they wanted to accomplish.
Right.
And I think there's some rumors about a gold heist at the bottom of the towers and all of that stuff too. But the main thing was to get the Patriot Act in place. Congress didn't want to do it. People would never, ever, and like I said, on September 10th, if they'd have brought it up for a vote, no way the people would have gone for it. But on September 12th, we all lined up in paper bags ready to go.
That's right, Brooks. And as far as we're not obviously not doing a 9/11 show and all this, but let's put the bow on it. It is a fact that Donald Rumsfeld, who's no longer with us, on Monday, September 10, 2001, did a press conference saying that the Pentagon was missing $2.3 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
It is a fact that $2.3 trillion worth of put options on the stock market were placed prior to 9/11, that on the day of 9/11, the put option, the stock's going to rise or fall. $2.3 trillion worth of put options were placed on American and United Airlines
To go down.
that their stock would, on the day of 9/11, would plummet.
Tumble.
And it is still a mystery to this day as far as who profited off of those put options.
Yeah, yeah.
But people did. And you know why?
Sure.
Because there was prior knowledge. You know why? Because 9/11 was a fucking inside job. Welcome to the party, pal. You know? It's plain and simple. It's not hard. It's not hard if you do real research. I'm not talking to you, Brooks, obviously. I'm talking to anyone listening to this show who thinks that we are batshit crazy, kooky conspiracy theorists. No, facts are facts.
And I've told the story before. I'll make it quick. I owned a freight airline in 2000, and I was getting ready to buy a 121 license. Those of you in the aviation industry, you know what that is. It's scheduled flights, scheduled flying. I was going to buy an existing 121 license, and I was going to amalgamate my company with that license and pick up scheduled flying. In order to do that, I had to be interviewed many times, and the final interview by the FBI was on site at our facility in Morristown, Tennessee. And the FBI was on their way to my house on 9/11 to do that final interview. And he called me on the phone, and I picked up my phone and answered. He said, "I guess you know I'm not coming." I said, "Why? Why would you not come?" He said, "Turn on the TV." I turned on the TV, and the first tower was already burning. And the second tower was hit almost while I was on the phone with him. And my airline was sunk because one of those planes flew right into the office of Aon Insurance, who was the underwriter for my aircraft. I had enough money in the bank to make payroll for about 2 months, pay people, my employees' insurance, and that was it. We were done. We evaporated because of whoever or whatever caused those towers to fall. And I was absolutely convinced it was Arab terrorists, and you could not convince me otherwise for about 5 years. And then somebody woke me up. Somebody talked to me about the Pentagon.
Yeah.
And I said, I looked at the Pentagon damage. God, I know airplanes inside and out. I know what a 757 looks like and what it can do. That was not damage consistent with a 757. And that's when I began to wake up.
Holy shit, Brooks. How do we do this? How do you and I do this? You have to understand, Keith. I know you understand that Brooks and I have known each other since 2009, right? How do we continue doing this? Earlier this year, last year, at the beginning of last year, Brooks and I realized that we're both biohackers. Brooks, now we just realized, because you know what we need to do? We need to sit down and say, all right, Chad, all right, Brooks, what is it? We need to tell each other everything. Because what I'm getting at is this. My reluctance to research 9/11 for a lot of motherfucking reasons. I wanted the official story to be true, plain and simple, because that's safe.
I'm right.
You know, that's safe.
Yes.
With the circumstances, that is fucking safe. And I had a longtime friend of mine, literally, and I'm not, you can't make this shit up. And I've talked about it on the show for years, but to reiterate, I had a friend of mine who would call me late night after all that shit went down, and he would respectively, he would whisper to me, Chad, I think 9/11 was an inside job. He was whispering on the phone. and he was persistent, but he's whispering to me on the phone that 9/11's inside job, and he would give me stuff to look up. And Brooks, so to just get to it, you just said it. What's the first thing that I decided one day, because he wouldn't leave me the fuck alone? I decided to watch the so-called, the so-called evidence of American 77 going into the west wall of the Pentagon. And I watched that video over and over again. I kid you not, for 5 hours. I replayed it, and I started crying. Because then I realized, that was the first thing that I realized, this whole thing's a fucking lie. This official story is a lot, and there's a lot of stuff going on in my mind at the time, because I didn't want it to be a lie.
Why? Because thousands of people, innocent people, were killed.
Yeah, a lot of
Thousands and thousands of innocent businesses were ended that day.
But
And
Brooks,
somebody
you
has
and
to
I,
pay.
the Pentagon is what woke you and I both up. That's crazy.
Yep.
Because everyone who wakes up to 9/11 has that's a lot of different stories of how they wake
Oh
up.
yeah, and they never
Mine
got
was
over it
building
either.
7
I-
and building 8, whichever the non-twin tower. Building 8,
The Solomon's Brothers building 7,
7, yeah.
Tower 7.
That was what did mine. Is the physics involved with that? Control.
Well, they never got over it at the Pentagon. I left the Pentagon one time. I got on the train. I rode up to the Key Bridge. I crossed the Key Bridge on foot, going to the hotel that I had a room in. And while I was entering the lobby of the hotel, there was an earthquake. I could, rumbled under my feet. Well, I am used to earthquakes. I was from California. I knew exactly what an earthquake was, but in Virginia, they'd never felt one. So the rumble was so severe that thousands of people poured out of the Pentagon in panic. Helicopters were flying everywhere. Sirens were going off. And the people were convinced that they were getting hit again. They were inside the building. Of course, a lot of those, if you're anywhere except A-ring, you don't have a window. You can't see out. I mean, you can see the other across the chasm to the other side of the building, but you can't see outside to the city.
Through the intercourse.
So when that rumble hit, it felt like the impact from 9/11, and people panicked. They just poured out of there.
Yeah, listen, it's just amazing to me that Brooks, what are we going to discover between you and I again? Now we both know how we woke up to 9/11.
Oh, there's more to come.
We're both biohackers. We both probably listen. Just on the download. Did you buy that stock yesterday? Yeah, you did. That's what I'm saying. We'll just figure out. Holy shit! Brooks bought the same stock. Everything. And we both use the same deodorant, folks. Brooks and I, same aluminum-free deodorant. We're just continue finding out more and more stuff. But
I use fluoride-free toothpaste.
Well, fuck yes. I don't. I use vaccine-free vaccines.
Yeah.
We all keep ourselves healthy, those of us in the know with crazy shit. Should I pull out the apricot seeds? No. Okay, I've already done that twice. Crazy stuff like going to brooksavenue.com and getting yourself, stuff that can keep yourself healthy from getting the flu.
I think great
and-
books to read and great
yeah.
audiobooks to listen to. If you want to know about all this stuff that we're talking about 9/11, about uh, um, Benghazi, about what happened to Seth Rich, you want to know about all that stuff, you need to read my books. I put you on the ground inside those events, and you can smell the smoke every page you turn.
If you haven't got a Brooks Agnew book, folks, you're fucking stupid. I'm just kidding. If you haven't got, if you haven't got it, if you go to brooksagnew.com, straight up, bottom line, I'm no apologist. Bottom line, Remembering the Future book is my deal. It's my deal. But every book that Brooks has is effing incredible. It's just incredible. And if you get Remembering the Future, you learn how to journal. Am I telling
There's
them
an
wrong?
online course that goes with it too.
Yeah.
So you can really advance your skills in manifesting success for yourselves.
That's what you do. It's too cool for school. Guys, I don't pay attention to the news. Are we fucking up? Is there new shit going on? Or are people blowing me up saying that we're not doing a good job? I don't think anything like huge has happened other than we did just land on the moon, folks.
Brooks, I do have Remembering the Future, and you'd said that. What's the one about mining the moon? What's that book that you wrote called?
About what?
About mining the moon, or
Oh, asteroid mining, the future of energy. Yeah, that's a very cool book.
that's the second one on my list to get through.
That one's in color. It was expensive to print. That's why it cost so much on Amazon, but it was the only way to do it. People need to see that technology, the Gateway and Artemis, and there's a lot of stuff going on people don't know about.
Well, and I think that's one of the common themes here on this show is truth. And I think that's one of the things that we all are striving for, to try to shed a light on, whether or not it's what's going on in Venezuela, or what's going on, at 9/11, or what's going on in any of these other,
Keith, let's toast.
Let's toast. And I'm a big
In
believer.
Venus Veritas.
Yes. And
In wine there is truth, Keith.
absolutely. And
I'm going to make you drink another 5 bottles. Okay.
no, I can't do that. I gotta get home. But the idea is that, I'm a big believer, and it may be changing, and I may have to change my opinion in a decade or so. But I'm a big believer. If you give the American public truthful information, ultimately, a majority of the people are going to come to the right decision, because I think we have a common goal and behavior of freedom and in that.
And the lust for real truth now.
Right.
Here's the thing. You're right, Keith. You're so right. Brooks has said it. He said it way before I said it, because he's the most interesting man in the world. He said it way before I said it, but it's veritas. It's total veritas. It's total verdad. It's totally the truth. Plain and simple. It's not just this show or Brooks's show, which you can catch X Squared Radio, folks, Sunday nights and Wednesday nights. All right, and you need to go there, and we'll tell you. But the thing is, it's not it's not this show. It's not Brooks's show. It's not John Wells. It's not Alex. It's a lot of shows combined, and a lot of other ways to get information out combined.
Sure.
That is the new media, which Brooks coined, in my opinion. We are the new media. MSM is dead.
And if you don't believe me, look at Nick Shirley. That's an example of a citizen journalist breaking a story.
Oh yeah, big time. Simply, big time. You're
Maybe
right.
that'll inspire more. You know, maybe, you know, we
The
said
floodgates are open, Keith.
Right. Well, we said
Yeah.
that Charlie Kirk's assassination was an awakening and a turning point.
It's a big
But-
fuck up by the
But Nick
global
Shirley's
syndicate.
issue just advances and continues that, and that's the movement, the ecclesia, right?
Yeah.
That's what needs to occur
Sure.
for America to get to where it needs to be. And I have, and for at least the last decade, I've been thinking about what is it to be American, you know, and assimilation and in this issue. And I've come to the conclusion that there are a lot of cultures out there that do not want the accountability and responsibility of being free. They would rather be sheep and just kind of go along with that. But that's not me, and that's not a lot of people in America. And I'm hoping that more people in America become Americans and stand up and say, you know what, I want my republic. I want my protection of my individual freedoms.
It's not a democracy, motherfucker. It's a republic with underpinnings of democracy. That's what the United States is. It's a republic first. Underpinnings of a democracy. We'll give that to you. It's still a republic.
We have really two governments. We have the government that leaves you alone, and you are 100% responsible for your own life condition. And then we have another government that wants to coddle you and pay you from cradle to grave. And unfortunately, there are people who are willing to abdicate their freedom for the latter. They would rather do what they're told, vote the way they're told to vote, and give up their freedom, give up their rights, give up their liberty, give up their freedom of thought, freedom of movement, freedom
For
to be what they
security.
want to be. And just, I'm not that person.
No.
You know, I'm not afraid of AI because I can walk away from the USB cord. I can walk right out that door, right outside, and outside there is no AI. It's just me and the sun and the dirt. I don't have to deal with it. The AI can click and buzz and wheel as much as it wants. It has no effect on me whatsoever.
And what you're describing is what I'm defining as America and American values. And the idea is that I'm hoping more and more citizens in the United States recognize that we have something unique and special in these freedoms. And we don't want to advocate them to the Patriot Act in those issues. And the truth is, we ought to be looking at ways in which we can unwind some of these things, if at all possible. But what I shared with Chad was, you know, there's a meme going around, you know, in social media, is that Trump can't do it all. You know, he has 3 more years. This movement is going to have to go on and sustain itself for quite some time. Surely can't end at midterms here in 10, 11 months. Can't really end in 2 years, 3 years from now. Can't really end, you know, we didn't get into this mess in 4 or 6 or 8 years. It's going to take a decade or more of people moving on to regain this.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, Keith. This is gonna listen. Maybe I'm being the pessimist. Okay, because I'm not. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a pessimist. I don't. Here's and I'm not a. Listen, maybe I'm a seer. Maybe I'm not. Bottom line, this country has been put in a position on purpose. We've talked about 45 having Providence
Right.
for actually a number of years on this show, even before Butler. and pretty damn evident after Butler and since. But this country's on a path because it walks with the great one, in my opinion. Okay, because I think that's why he has providence. So we're on a path that, dude. If 47 was not saved at Butler and he's back in the office and all these great people around him that we've talked about tonight, this country is a total shithole. Okay, very, very quickly. We were on the path to holy shit, you know? And don't you ever say Christmas. Don't you ever say Christmas. Don't you say Christmas. You know, we're on a path to put your mask back on. Fuck COVID.
Get your jab.
Put your mask back on, and you will. Otherwise, you will not work. You'll take your Pfizer. You'll take your Moderna. You'll take your Johnson & Johnson. You'll take those shots, okay? Otherwise, you don't work. Dude.
Yeah.
We were on a path to that fast-tracked like a motherfucker, period. And this country was not going to be turned around. So I'm just saying, and I'll get off my little pulpit. Bottom line, it's to the great one, and the great one saved a dude who is flawed just like all of us.
Yes.
And he's put into position and he's there to do the work. He's there to do the work. And all of us are flawed. He's flawed, but the great one saved him and Butler to fucking do the work. And he knows what time of day it is. And it's incredible for this country. Absolutely incredible. And everyone who hates me, fuck you. You know, I'm just saying. You know, there's people listening. Yeah.
God always picks flawed individuals.
Exactly.
To complete his work.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Abraham tried to pimp out his
Moses.
wife. Yeah, Moses.
David.
Abraham. Yeah, David.
I mean, come on.
Come on.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely. Peter, you know, I mean, good gracious, if you want a flawed individual, the Apostle Peter is one of those. But, you know, we talked about early in this show tonight, connecting or putting dots down and connecting them. Just think how amazing God's story is. And it obviously precedes this, but let's just start with the death of Anthony Scalia, the Supreme Court Justice. And
Scalia.
I'm sorry, Scalia.
I don't think it's a death. It's a murder.
Well, right. And
a lot of people think that.
And then the idea is that they held off on that confirmation until, you know, after the 2016 election. Everyone thought it didn't really make much of a difference whether or not it was Barack Obama or will allow Hillary Clinton to make her first Supreme Court nomination. No big deal. And then she didn't win. And then just on and on and on.
They killed Scalia, and they fucked up because they killed him, and then they didn't get their outcome anyway. And I interrupted you.
Right, because Mitch McConnell did the filibuster and would not allow him to pick a justice.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But then the whole Ruth Bader Ginsburg issue occurred, right? And they were able to get in Amy Coney Barrett, you know, right before Biden took place. And then now, you know, we'll see. But this whole thing is a whole bunch of dots that need to be connected. Butler is a huge dot in this line, but it's not a single point. It's a line or a direction or a plan.
Yeah, I see where you're going. Yeah,
with this.
Yeah, everything happens. It's for. I understand what you're saying. I'm connecting the dots with you. There is no this without that and that and that. Totally. And talking about people who hate me and I say F you. Well, seriously. But I love you, even though you hate me. You know, if you hate me, I'll as a human being say fuck you. But I still love you, and I forgive you.
Well, and there's going to be some percentage of the people that say F you, who get upset about it, who are going to come to the light.
Exactly.
In other words, they're upset because they're going through this process of, well, like you say, not wanting to accept and the pain and what it means all of a sudden to recognize, damn, these guys are right. Right? I've been seeing everything wrong. And, you know? And so.
That's what a lot of the country saw.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I mean, bottom line. And you know what? After 47 was, I can pin you all night. Mm-hmm. But after 47 was, not just after Butler, but after 47 got back in office, holy shit. What happens? Tucker Carlson blows up, or even before. After Tucker gets fired and comes, the country was just already rocking, Brooks. You know, and you get Tucker motherfucking Carlson, who my brother had breakfast with. Fuck you, my brother. Just kidding. But my brother, there's a long line, Brooks, of my brother meeting people and forgetting to tell them, hey, my brother Chad has a show.
you may want to be a guest sometime.
I kid you not. It's crazy. Billy Corrigan from the Smashing Pumpkins, he fucking down in some Miami restaurant. Billy Corrigan, the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins, he ends up they're having dinner, ends up hanging out with him, drinking wine, taking pictures, forgets to tell him. Has breakfast with Tucker Carlson's in Miami, hanging out. Hangs out, sits down, has breakfast with Tucker Carlson. Magic Johnson comes to the Capitol, Tallahassee, whatever. I could go on and on. He conveniently forgets that, hey, maybe Chad would like to interview these people. But Tucker is the most amazing, in my opinion, dude who's been canceled. You know, fired from Fox. He was arguably one of the biggest shows on network television, and what he has done since. Fuck Fox. He's kicking ass.
Look at Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly had the #1 news and opinion in the world, and they fired him.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, Tucker was getting too close to the stove.
Yeah, probably.
And when they fired him, what I'm saying is, what did he do, Brooks? The moment they fired him and he started his own shit, he just regrouped and started his own stuff. What did he do? He immediately, like a banshee, onto the global syndicate pieces of crap who orchestrated and did all these inside jobs. His first guest is Alex Jones, Alejandro Jones, and he sits there and plays Alex Jones predicting 9/11 on July 25th on his show, 2001. And he hasn't stopped since. And then he makes an entire documentary on 9/11. And then he goes into the whole global syndicate period.
And he interviewed Putin.
Yes, because he's not stopping, because he's awake. And he's admitted, like I have admitted when I was asleep, he admitted when he was like on part of his heyday on Fox, that he was an asleep buffoon,
right,
that used to call Alex Jones a crazy person.
Yeah, that's right.
But Alex ain't crazy. Brooks ain't crazy. Keith,
a little bit.
But the thing is, the truth, as Keith was talking about, veritas, veridad, it's the truth is the truth. And I guess what I'm getting at is the majority of the country, with all the with all the global syndicates fuck ups, because they can't help but fuck up because they're evil, and they're driven by evil, and we know they're driven by evil. So they continue fucking up as people continue waking up, because the great one's more powerful than your stupid evil. And now I'm shutting up. All right, now we'll go to break.
And now another by
Hey,
our sponsor.
Hey Brooks, by the way, we have awesome news. Scotty and I were talking. Now, you know, we were talking earlier. Now that Scotty's doing a little bit better and stuff, we're gonna have we're gonna craft this show in a certain way. Even though it's a podcast, it's gonna sound like a radio show. It's just gonna be. I mean, we're gonna be straight up. It's a podcast, but it's just gonna work better. And Scotty and I have ideas, and it's gonna be awesome. Or maybe he was just hopped up on meds.
Could be.
I'm just here for the Saturday night dinners.
Keith is here for many more reasons than that, as we've already talked about. Holy shit. And you know what? By the way, Brooks, I know what he's doing. He's eyeing those 2 burritos across the kitchen island. He's eyeing those 2 burritos that he knows he's taking home.
See, I get an extra. I get to take leftovers home, so I get to eat this 2 times a week. Brooks, it's been a great show. I'm glad to be back.
You know, we covered a lot of stuff.
Didn't we? I mean, we started off with Venezuela, and then we spent 15 or 30 minutes or so on 9/11. Didn't really mean to do that in the election and those things, but that's where the truth leads you. It's the different avenues, and I just hope there's some people that, you know, some of this starts to resonate with, and they start to say, you know what, these guys, they might sound crazy.
Here's the thing, though. If 9/11 is, there's a lot of everything we're kind of dealing with right now is because of the inside job of 9/11.
Sure.
So sometimes when that comes up, that's a point of explaining where the fuck we are right now.
Right.
And where we're trying to get out, you know, because for a long time we were treading water as a country, and then here comes 2016. We're not treading water anymore. Here's a life jacket. You don't have to tread. You can tread and float, and then it's getting a little bit.
Here's a lifeboat.
Yeah.
Here's a compass.
Brooks, what I would say to you is, what the fuck are you doing a show with us? Because you're the greatest
I enjoy
guy.
our Saturday nights.
I know, man.
Isn't it therapeutic? I mean, I would just do it even if you took the camera off.
Well, I'm on the air Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm off Thursday and Friday.
Oh, so you're refreshed for us on Saturday. Good. Give us some time
Yeah,
to let
the
some
Saturday
news.
night starts my week
There you go.
on the
Saturday
radio.
starts this week. It's work week.
Yeah.
Brooks, listen, man. You know how much I love you, and how much I look up to you, dude. And it's absolutely amazing. But I want to say this again, because a lot of people, if you didn't hear me say it, Scott Hare's going to be back and all this, and Brooks is staying, okay? But with what happened with Scotty, and he'll be able to say what he wants to say, it's not my business, you know. But I can tell you Scott's good, and he's going to be back. But with Scotty having the year that he did and being out for the majority of last year, I'm telling you straight up. I mean, yes, Keith has joined as well, and I'm giving you total cred too, okay, Keith? But without Brooks Agnew stepping up, you wouldn't have heard a lot of shows. I'm just telling you, because I was used to Scotty carrying the load of, you know, because a lot of times I got a lot of other stuff going on, and Scotty was always there. If I wasn't going to be doing a show, Scott's doing a show anyway, and all this. And so when he was out without Brooks, I had to step up and regain control of the ship a little bit and say, Chad, this is, you're supposed to be doing this show anyway, but I wouldn't have been able to do without you, Brooks.
Well, I appreciate that very much. I do. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate both you guys taking me under your wing and giving me an opportunity to spend Saturday nights with you, and look forward to 2026 being
Well, I got to contribute because you guys get all the good food. So
We do, and it's good. And we'll make a road trip up there, and we'll bring you down here one day, Brooks, and we'll do it both ways.
I'm
there.
good for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it this year. Let's. Brooks, start talking to me. Don't give me your address as late as letting me know when you want when you want to come here, and so we can bring you here and effing Brooks Agnew live in studio with us.
Brooks, did you get my package?
Not yet.
There you go. It should come probably next
Oh,
week.
did you send me a book?
I did.
Yeah, I got it.
There you go, from Hugh Ross, right? He's a
Right.
Christian astrophysicist, I believe, in the Carolinas. I think he's about 10 years older than you, and I don't know if he still does speaking.
I was thinking of interviewing him if he is.
Yeah, you see it. I don't know. He used to give a lot of seminars, and I know a lot of my friends have gone up to the Carolinas to do like some of his 2-day seminars and things. But he may be semi-retired, but he may be very open for an interview. So you should contact his office and see.
Yeah, I got his book.
There you go.
Thank you.
No problem.
And Brooks, like I said, I had to make you. Keith knows what I'm sending you.
I'm not spilling the beans.
But I had to have it made for you. But I was waiting for your address for, I don't know, a couple months. And so you'll be getting that. But Keith, you think he's going to like it?
I do.
It's being made for you, Brooks.
We've connected dots on two different things here, at least today. We talked about South America. We talked about 47 in that issue. And then, like you say, Chad, I think they're dots to be connected. As you and Scotty have a relationship, Brooks has been a frequent guest to do that. Scotty has a downturn. Brooks steps up, right? You and I have a common friend who's passed away, but we've stayed in touch, and now I've been here. And what all I'm saying is that God, our Lord and Savior, the one and mighty, has a plan. And you could take these dots, and I don't think there's any doubt that you and I, have been walking together, and you and Brooks and it's taken me under and all that. I think I'm very open for the Lord's work here in 2026.
I have to say this, if you're going to mention our mutual friend who's no longer with us, I love you, Adam.
Yeah.
Adam Candela was a great human being, and a great friend. Plain and simple.
Yes.
Plain and simple. Brooks, we got to get out of here, my friend. If people go to brooksagnew.com, what are they looking for?
Well, books and audiobooks, and also health and aging products that I use keep me young and beautiful. And you can too. It's affordable. It's already been tested by me. And if you want ivermectin and fenbendazole for yourself, I know they're hard to find, but you can find them at my website, wholesale, shipped right to your address without a prescription.
Awesome.
That's at brooksagnew.com. And this is a kick-ass show, Brooks.
Really. I like it.
Yeah.
People who don't have anything better to do with their Saturday nights than listen to us They could do worse, a lot worse.
That's right.
Or they can catch us tomorrow or sometime during the week. And Tony does a great job of making the shorts and makes it easy to catch a topic that you're interested in.
Yeah,
Big part.
we're coming back
out
with
there to Tony.
whether you're listening to this on Rumble or YouTube, it's there. But Brooks, we love you, man. And Scott Hare I know he's going to be back very, very soon. And then he's going to come back, Brooks, and he's going to be like, holy shit. You know, this Brooks Agnew has made this show more powerful than he would ever imagine. Plain and simple. I so appreciate you, Brooks. I really do, man.
Thank you.
Let me know. Can I hit my button? Can I do my dance?
Okay, well, we're going to get out of here. Yeah, go ahead. All right, folks. You just heard the most interesting man in the world, plain and simple, co-host Dr. Brooks Agnew for Keith Temple, producer and webmaster Tony, greatest producer on the planet, the Sentinel, elusive engineer, and of course, Scotty Hare, Adam Earth, and the luscious Bob Austin, folks. Until next time, let justice be done, though the heavens fall. I'm Chad. This is the one and only Earth. We'll see you next Sabado Noche.
Boom, right on time.